All right, guys, so Kamala Harris just did her first interview. Let's check it out.
It only took 39 days for Vice President Harris to finally sit down for an interview, and the media thinks she knocked it out of the park. Watch.
She was very connected to her words. She seemed strong. She seemed competent. She seemed like someone who could be president of the United States.
I mean, she's brilliant in her answers of both those questions. The first question about her values haven't changed, and she does what's right on all these issues.
And she answered every question. Now, you might not like the way she answered them, but she...
This is absolutely insane. Like, I don't know how they say this with a straight face. Like, there is no way that these people actually believe what they're saying.
Answered him as a capable, qualified leader.
And she said, look, I ultimately said, this is what I was going to do. I kept my word, and I will keep my word again. And I thought that was the strongest argument.
But that's not what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to clarify exactly what you're going to do. You don't just say that your values haven't changed. What does that even mean? And you're changing your policies, but you're saying your values haven't changed. How does that answer anything? You have to say it. You know?
She could put forward.
Joe Concha is a Fox News contributor. He joins me now. Joe, the moment America's been waiting for. Concha Pyro on the Kamala Walls interview. Do you share the media's praise for Kamala Harris? And remember, keep your answers short, Joe, because we have deadlines on this show. And those deadlines, Joe, they're based around time.
That was the craziest one. It's like, what are you talking about? Deadlines based around time. Isn't that the whole idea of a deadline, is that it's based around time? You don't need to say that.
Yeah, a lot of deadlines, and usually when you have a deadline that's based on time, that was an interesting answer that she gave there. Todd, I think we found the reason why Kamala Harris has avoided talking to...
What an absolute airhead this lady is. No, this can't be serious. Is this real? Is this real life?
She looked nervous, quite frankly. She filibustered a ton when she was answering these questions. Dana Bash asked some decent questions, but she forgot this thing called a follow-up when she was getting some answers that deserved follow-ups, clearly. And the lies that Kamala Harris told here, Todd, with her emotional support animal next to her in Tim Walz, which was a very awkward look.
Sorry.
Right? Let's face it, the guy barely spoke. Why was he even there? Look, the lies told during this interview were on a Baghdad Bob type of level. For example, Harris said that she is now not for banning fracking, and she said she made it clear in 2020 when she ran for president on a debate stage that she was not for banning fracking. The problem is that she dropped out before she even got to 2020, and I can't find any proof of her being yay fracking during that year of 2020, and I haven't heard a thing about it since. What I do know is that the Biden-Harris administration on day one, when they took office, banned fracking on federal lands. That is a fact. So if she's so for fracking, why did she allow that to happen? But of course, Dana Bash didn't bring that up. And by the way, the big picture here, and we've talked about this on the program, again, you take away that teleprompter, and she was looking down half the time, I assume, at notes, and she sounded like a human Chernobyl. So I think that in the end, Todd, this will have a net negative instead of a net positive. I get some folks over on CNN and on MSNBC are going to say that they liked it, but they would have said that no matter what. I think when you see the clips going viral today, as they are, it ain't good. And I don't think you're going to see her do an interview again anytime soon, if at all, in the month of September. And that debate now becomes a big, big focus more than ever before.
It's a really interesting answer you gave, because the optics didn't jump out at you to connote power. There's a power vision that I think one can give. And I would argue that Kamala Harris herself has given throughout the last 39 days in many instances. And I don't know if she did it last night. But getting back to the substance, you asked, Joe, what will Kamala Harris do on day one? Here's her answer.
Yeah.
What would you do on day one in the White House?
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward. In a way that generations of Americans have been.
She's saying a lot without saying anything at all. This is no way to present your ideas. Oh, well, it's important to understand these things, and we're going to move forward in a way that is progressive, and we are going to make sure everyone's feelings are heard. Like, what? I don't know, man. That's my best impression of her, because it's like she is asked about things that are so specific, and she gives these like nuanced answers that could mean anything.
Fueled by hope and by optimism.
Joe, the
By
passage
hope
of
and
time
by
in that
optimism.
answer, all 35 seconds of that
Crazy.
soundbite, has left me burdened by her lack of specifics of what has been. All joking aside, are these constant platitudes and lack of any specifics going to do it for her, going to win her the White House?
Absolutely not, Todd. I mean, August was a great month for her, right? Because, again, she was in teleprompter. I think now, as we turn the page to September, and she does a debate for 90 minutes. Now, let's think about this. That interview she did last night was, 18 minutes? It was pre-taped. And if you look at her answer to Dana Bash again, go watch it. She's looking down most of the time or looking off into the air. She's not making any eye contact. Imagine her in front of President Xi or President Putin or anybody of substance. So, again, she did not look comfortable there at all. And by the way, if I were Dana Bash, she should have asked, let's see, question one.
Well, why is she always laughing? Why is she always smiling? Like, nothing is funny, nothing. You're running to be the president of the United States. You don't need hope or joy or anything of that. You don't need to be smiling, looking like that. This is crazy to me. What is going on here? It could have been anybody else. So, all right, the reason that's happening is because she was the only one that could take Biden's money. That's the only reason. And honestly, the money thing, it's not helping. Like, you could have been broke with anybody else, and you would have had a better chance than this. Like, literally just, there's no way that this lady is winning. There's just no way.
This, you support taxing unrealized gains on capital gains. So critics say that will tank the stock market. Explain why they're wrong. Question two, she should have asked. You have voiced your support for sanctuary cities. Why do you believe they work? Question number three, I would have asked. You support free health care for those who enter the country illegally. How does that get paid for? And why should those here illegally receive the same benefits as those here in the country legally, from a sanitation, education?
And if she was asked any of those questions, she would have had no idea what to say. She would have just been like, but we're going to tax the rich, and we're going to, yeah. That's it. That's all she would have had. That's all she would have had.
And policing perspective. Question four, you support cash-free bail laws at a time crime is driving citizens out of cities like New York, Chicago, Minneapolis, your former city of San Francisco. Why do you think cash bail laws are best for the community?
Right.
And again, question five I would have asked, and I'll leave it here. You support biological men competing against biological women in sports. Why do you think that's fair, given the clear advantage that poses, and it's a danger to female athletes? And oh, by the way, bonus question, can men get pregnant? I would have loved to have heard questions like that. I hope that she is asked those things at some point by ABC. I don't have a lot of faith in that. But again, can she go 90 minutes with Donald Trump sitting across the table when there's going to be a lot more questions and no support animal there? I don't think it's going to work too well, quite frankly.
I think at least one of those will come out in the debate. And to your point, it's going to be real tough for her to flip-flop on that. But speaking of flip-flops, the word salad that everybody's talking about today, she's insisting she hasn't flip-flopped.
All she's going to say is, okay, I recognize that inflation is up, and we're going to focus on that, and we're going to focus on it really hard. What does that mean? And then everyone's going to clap. Whoa, go Kamala. What are you talking about? Like, what? I need a specific answer, not just hope and joy. And I don't know how anybody's voting for this lady.
I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter, to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act.
Okay, Joe, I know I joked about the deadlines around time earlier because I think this answer is the most important. I think we need to scrutinize it. And it's not a joke because isn't she admitting in that answer that she is betraying her true beliefs, her true far left values just to win an election in that very answer?
That's a campaign ad right there, Todd, to answer your question. Yeah. Hey, Pennsylvania, how do you feel about the fact that she supports the Green New Deal, which means she probably wants to end the fossil fuel industry? That whole thing about she says that actually she's for fracking. Do you really believe that? She's also said she wants to end offshore drilling. And if that's the case, and you're a Pennsylvania voter, you can't be happy about that. If she's maintaining her values, that means she does want to abolish ICE. That means she does believe that illegal border crossings should be legal. That does mean she wants to provide health insurance for those who are here in the country illegally. We could go on, but Todd, again, I just think that she's looking down constantly during that interview, and there was no command there whatsoever. And again, that debates everything on September 10th at this point. She's going to have to be a lot better than she was last night. That's certainly for certain.
And all eyes will be watching. Joe Concha, amazing stuff. Have a great week and great holiday weekend. See you in September.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Craziness, man. Absolute craziness. Did you guys check out the Kamala interview? And if you did, what did you think about it? Let me know and subscribe. Later.